Welcome to Twilight on CRTV News. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka in Yaoundé. Today we shall be talking about some women in the southwest region of the country who have rallied in Boya to say no to violence. We shall also look at climate patterns and what is called the Leader Initiative with Dr. Pokam Wilfred of the ENS here in the nation's capital. He's a researcher, and we shall be asking the timeliness of the decision by the ministry or the Minister of Secondary Education to suspend holiday classes. What are the consequences? Mbuel Hilary and Eyikeshi Sami Tase, who is principal of Mario College, and the other one, an educationist, shall be examining these. We begin with the news with Gladys Ashel. Good evening, Gladys.
Good evening, Moki. Now, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has just issued a communique to the governors of the Northwest and Southwest regions restricting the sales and usage of bladed weapons in the two regions. This is due to the series of barbaric actions that have characterized the regions. According to the minister, anyone who needs to purchase a machete must obtain authorization from the divisional officer with justification of an agricultural activity.
And Gladys Asu, work resumes effectively this day at the Ministry of the Public Service and Administrative Reform.
Yes, Moki, a day after an insulin bottle was mistaken for an explosive device, the personnel of the ministry that manages state human resources and at present putting the scare behind them. Emanuela Vemier witnessed their resumption this morning and filed in this report.
The scare is over. The gate opens to a new day as workers make their way into their offices in calm. The control at the entrance is stiff, just so nothing filters in. The Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reform has regained its usual steam. Receiving and treating documents of 260,000 civil servants and state agents is their focus.
Today, after visiting the ministry, I am glad that the call of the Minister for the personnel to resume work was heeded. About 90% of workers are on seat from the CGPS to the ICTs and the Human Resources departments. Even the department where the suspected object was found are 70% present.
The suspected objects that led to the interruption of work turned out to be an insulin bottle. At the second floor where it was found, the occupants on seat are serene and go about their duties. A security meeting has been built for Thursday on how to better secure.
Senior staff of the Ministry or of the National Assembly are being trained on ICTs.
Yes, Moki, the objective of the second phase of the annual capacity building workshop for staff of the National Assembly is to pursue the task of modernizing the administration of the institution so as to improve performance. Let's get some reactions captured for us by Rita Makan.
Very important education for our Cameroonian people, and especially for the National Assembly. Because bilingualism in our nation is a priority and must be extended to everybody. And it went through bilingualism a successful way, it must be through utilization of computer sciences. Because without the knowledge of bilingualism, you can't manipulate the computer sciences.
One of our mission is to train Cameroonian to be bilingual through the teaching of English and French for national unity and the living together. So what we have to do as from tomorrow is to reinforce their skills, as far as writing administrative reports are concerned, speaking general English or French, and for them to be at ease wherever they are, whether here or out of the country.
And the implementation of government's decision for the non-holding of holiday classes in private and public schools has gone effective in Yaoundé. Although many complain that the decision may hinder the performances of students, they have no choice but to obey the government's order. Let's now get details with Romeo Kenny, who visited some schools in Yaoundé.
Closed gate, deserted classrooms. There are no holiday classes this time around in secondary schools. This falls in line with the decision taken last August 14 by the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Nalova Lyonga. Private schools have always championed the process But this year, it won't be the case.
Automatically, we stopped. Here, we had already, in the secondary section, we had already more than 50 students, and in the primary, we equally had already more than 60.
Running the holiday classes from Monday to Friday, and the minister's decision came on the 14th, that was Friday. We equally remain an obedient institution.
For their part, parents received the big news with mixed feelings.
Yes, the school administration said that they will take it in care or when school will be resumed.
Although they regret that the prohibition of holiday classes will have an impact on learners' academic output next year, parents and school authorities also concur that the decision taken will help in speeding up the relentless effort against the dreaded COVID-19 pandemic. After all, health remains primordial.
Gladys, let's now examine a topic in which you fit in very squarely, and that is beauty.
Exactly, Moki. The Cameroon Federation for Fashion Design and Textile has launched a new line of skincare products made from bamboo. As Cynthia Boyomo reports, it is rich in vitamins that helps the skin fight against certain diseases like cancer. Her report.
Bamboo is becoming a popular product in the fabrication of cosmetic goods such as soap, shampoo and mantolantum. Some of them are used for the treatment of hair due to their combination benefits. Others are rich in vitamins, while others help to prevent the skin from bacteria.
Today we're making the launching of a new product, a product made with bamboo, 100% bamboo. You know, we have discovered that bamboo is a product that can be used in cosmetic, and because in cosmetic bamboo purifies the skin, it remineralizes the skin, and the good thing in that is that it's regenerating the skin cells.
The use of bamboo is increasing within the cosmetics and personal care industry as it is consumed across Cameroon and is sold both unprocessed after going through a series of basic, primary and secondary processing activities.
And in foreign sports, French champions Paris Saint-Germain and German outfit RB Leipzig will bid to reach the final of the UEFA Champions League when they clash today. Both teams made it to the semi-finals after beating Atalanta and Athletic Madrid. Today's game in Lisbon, Portugal is at 8 p.m. and will be the first time both teams will be aiming to reach the final of Europe's elite football. FC Bayern, Munich and Lyon are pitted in the other semi-final tomorrow. All games are taking place in Lisbon due to the coronavirus pandemic. And in Mali, soldiers have taken up arms near Mali's capital, Bamako, and staged an apparent mutiny amid an ongoing political crisis in the country for the resignation of President Ibrahim Keita Boubacar. Some senior government ministers and army officers are reportedly under arrest, but not clear by whom. In a statement, the West African bloc, ECOWAS, has urged the soldiers to return to their barracks without delays. We'll give you updates or developments in our news editions that follow. Moki, that does it for the news updates this evening.
Thanks, Gladys.
Do have a profitable program.
Let's have a break. When we come back, we shall move to Boya.
Il est essentiel que les mesures qui ont été indiquées soient absolument respectées par chacun de nous.
Lavez-vous régulièrement les mains à l'eau et au savon ou à l'aide d'un gel hydroalcoolique. Restez à au moins 1 mètre de distance des autres personnes, surtout si elles toussent, éternuent ou ont de la fièvre. Si vous avez de la fièvre, de la toux ou des difficultés à respirer, consultez un médecin.
Now, some women in the southwest region came out this day in Boya to say no to the increasing violence on women, children, and on aid workers. They came out and later on met the governor of the southwest region to table to him a memorandum asking for peace to return to that part of the country. We've been joined on the line to Boya by reporter Annabelle Ndike Eno Anyang. Good evening, Annabelle.
Good evening, Muki.
What really happened in Boya today?
Well, we had women of all walks of life in the southwest region. They assembled today at the Bongo Square to decry and to detest the wicked act and inhuman violence perpetrated or that have been occurring in the southwest region. Recently, the one in Moyoka, where a 35-year-old lady, Afiri Comfort, was brutally murdered. You know, this state of the women who saw the video and they could not keep it to themselves. So they had to come out to march from Bongo Square right up to the governor's office in order to join your voices and decry that the governor should do something so that this wicked act should be stopped.
What was the atmosphere like there? How were they dressed? What messages were they passing?
Well, the women were all dressed in black, showing signs of mourning. They tied white pieces on your hands, and the atmosphere was really a pathetic one because they walked, they sang songs, pathetic songs, you know, and they were walking, singing with tears running down your cheeks.
Annabelle, I'm sure the population that was around actually reacted, did they? What was the atmosphere there?
Well, the atmosphere, it was really calm and it was really sorrowful because the women, they carried the messages. We want, like such as we want women's voices and not dead bodies. Women, we say no to violence and they declare peace and justice. They also had other messages like women in the southwest region strongly condemn the brutal murder of Tumasan Comfort Afiri, which occurred in Moyoka on the 12th of August. And so it was really, really a calm and very pathetic atmosphere. People walked, those in the taxis, you could see them nodding your head, and one could really see that, you know, it's a painful act.
It is true we're going to listen to the governor, but can you summarize the message the governor passed on to the women who are really out to see that peace returns to the country?
The governor, first of all, congratulated the women who came out, who had braved all odds, all the threats, to come out after seeing such a video. After watching such a video, the governor congratulated them that they came out and that he challenged them that they should not relent the effort, that as they go back to their various villages and towns, they should actually get those who are perpetuating the act, because the case of Afiri Comfort was done on broad daylight at about 1 p.m. in the afternoon, that Tuesday 12. And so people actually saw when she was picked up by the separatists from her house. People saw when the act was being perpetrated. So the governor said these women who braved all odds should go back and actually help the forces of law and order by calling the names of those who are carrying out this wicked act, because they live within us. And that the governor also said that they are children of some parents. So the women who brought for these children should not look at all of this. They should also join your sisters who came out today to reveal those who are actually bringing the society into naught.
Well, Annabelle, I want to thank you very much for being there to answer our questions.
Thank you very much, Muki.
Now, before we got Annabelle there, she earlier sent us some reactions from the women and from the governor. But let's first of all listen to a declaration that was made by the women of the Southwest region after today's protest at Bongo Square. Let's have a declaration that was made today.
The women of the Southwest region are in deep shock and consternation following the brutal murder of a harmless and defenseless woman in Muyuka on Wednesday, the 12th of August, 2020. We consider the cold-blooded slaying of Timasam Comfort Aferi as an affront to womanhood and humanity as a whole. The women of the Southwest express unreserved indignation at this murder, which is one too many in the long list of senseless killings perpetrated by suspected separatist fighters. The memory of Florence Ayafo is still fresh in our memories. We stand up with one voice to condemn in the strongest terms ever this long list of brutal killings. We, the women living in the Southwest region, call on the government to spare no efforts or resources to track down and bring the full force of the law to be applied on the killers of Timasam Comfort Aferi, while inviting the population to give full collaboration to the security forces in their investigations. Finally, we extend our sincere and heartfelt condolences to the children and family of Timasam Comfort Aferi to find inner peace to bear this loss that we all share with them.
That's the declaration that was read there by the women today. Now, let's listen to some reactions that were gathered for us by Annabelle Ndike Eno Anyang.
I'm just
Well, we are sorry for the mix-up we've started having yet in this program. Let's have some reactions that Annabelle got, the reaction of women in the Southwest region who came out to march today.
Ça m'a tellement fait mal. Parce que pour voir un être humain tuer l'autre, un peu comme si c'était un animal, c'était tellement... Ça m'a fait de la peine dans mon cœur. J'étais tellement fâchée contre ce que j'ai vu. Parce que vraiment, la femme là, elle a les enfants. Comment va se porter les enfants là? Non seulement les enfants, la manière dont on l'a tué, vraiment, c'est trop sauvage. Ça m'a tellement fait de la peine dans mon cœur. Et je prie Dieu que cette attitude ne se continue plus chez nous ici là. Merci beaucoup.
I felt as if I was alone in my room. I felt as if the whole world has collapsed. I cried, seeing my fellow woman being slaughtered like an animal. Up to now, I don't think that feeling has gotten off me. The feeling of Florence has not gotten off me till this time. May her soul rest in peace.
Thank you. I think I was very strong because as a pastor, I used to tell people courage whenever they are bereaved. But I found myself very weak and crying like a baby when I saw pictures of Comfort. I asked myself if we were in Cameroon. I asked myself what is really going on? Why are women being the target? I cried until today. I decided to come out even as a pastor to join women in the Southwest to decry and say enough is enough. Women should not be the target. And so we use this opportunity to call on the powers that be, that however they can put an end to this stalemate, it will help us. Because every day we are crying, our hearts are bleeding. They are killing our children, killing our husbands, killing even us, the women who gave birth to all of them. So it's really, really difficult to bear. It's not easy at all. That is why we are here. And we pray you men and women of the press to help us spread the message.
Some women there our reporters also got a reaction of the governor of the Southwest Region, Benao Bilai, who is pleading on the women and the population to help the forces of law and order, the military, by denouncing criminals. Let's listen to the governor.
I'm just from the side, from Luka, where I went to accompany the special envoy of the Prime Minister who met the family to extend condolences of the families. It is sad, it is unbelievable, but I want to tell you, use women, that those who carry such atrocities were delivered by women. And I'm sure that their mothers are somewhere. Because today, those who do it are within, they are among us. They are living in the quarters. We know them, sometimes we just suspect them, but we refuse to denounce them. That lady, you sent away the fear. You came because you are women, mother of humanity. And I want you to go back to your various villages and quarters to tell the other women to go out and call names of those whose sons are doing it. You know them. They are abroad. They are with us. You know. You know. Today, you know those who are killing us, those who are killing our children. It is no longer a secret. They are there. Call them. Call their mothers. Call their sisters to tell their children to stop it. If not, you continue to cry. The forces of law and order, the administration are doing what they can do, but they will not be in your various homes to denounce that this one is doing this. So go back, tell the other women to come out and to denounce, to call by their names those whose sons and brothers are doing it. But the state will never tolerate it. And you will see. Congratulations and courage.
Quite pathetic there from the southwest region of the country. Women saying no to violence. Women saying no to the beheadings of fellow humankind, of their fellow sisters and their brothers and children. And women saying they want peace to return to the restive northwest and southwest regions of the country. We shall have a break, and when we come back, we'll receive here in the studio Dr. Pokam Wilfred.
Merci de nous retrouver pour cette édition de ressources.
Nous avons fait des formations sur les thèmes.
L'ambition du ministère de l'Habitat est de démarrer. C'est le moment de prendre le round-up économique de la semaine. Alors vous venez avec les dernières informations sur l'économie au Cameroun et un peu au-delà. Toutes les régions ont abrité des comices agro-pastoraux. Il y aura une voie d'emprise de 29 mètres et des équipements connexes.
Le ministre de l'Eau et de l'Énergie, Gaston Elundou Essomba, a lancé le 25 novembre dernier un programme de suivi, de contrôle.
Tous les spécimens partout dans le monde et on cherche à faire des cross-breeds.
Le monde agro-pastoral se déploie ainsi dans un contexte de crise sociopolitique avec un risque d'insécurité alimentaire.
Et pour sortir, on va prendre la direction du Kenya pour parler de ce petit détour.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info. CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.
Très heureuse de vous retrouver pour ce nouveau numéro de Carré Social. À la une, lutte contre les maladies prostatiques au Cameroun, une campagne de dépistage de ces maladies.
Comment se faire détecter? Ça signifie qu'à partir de 40 ans, pour des sujets dont un membre de la famille a eu à développer un cancer, il est préférable de passer voir un médecin. Les causes peuvent être multiples.
La couleur verte est la couleur la plus présente dans la nature, n'est-ce pas? On l'associe à l'espoir et à la chance.
Toujours ce 17 novembre, le monde célèbre la journée mondiale du souvenir de la circulation routière. Placée sous le thème « La vie n'est pas une pièce de rechange de véhicule ».
CRTV News, ici.
Dr. Pokam Wilfred, he's one of those researchers exposing the way that the Central African climate system and Southern Africa are linked, thereby breaking the mold of the stubborn peacemaker, that regional view of the continent's climate system. They keep the first leader of the system in Central Africa running, and we have invited him here to talk about the project he has been participating or planning or building with other researchers from across the world, particularly in Cameroon and Central Africa. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Mr. Poki.
Yeah. This initiative called the Leader System in Central Africa, can you talk to us about Leader System? What is it?
Yes, before going directly to the leader, I have to say that this initiative is a collaboration with the Oxford University. And the LiDAR is one of the instruments we want to use to better measure the climate parameter over Central Africa, and mainly in Cameroon. The LiDAR was installed at the ENS in Yaoundé, and it's an instrument which looks like a printer, and it sends to the atmosphere laser ray, and with this ray we can measure the wind's profile through the atmosphere up to 6 kilometers, and it also helps to measure the dust, the content of the dust in the atmosphere. This LiDAR was installed together with an automatic weather station, as I say, at the university. And we also make some heavy-sound data, which are some balloons that we release to the atmosphere and which help to measure the atmospheric parameters up to 12 kilometers. So the LiDAR is within an initiative which takes into account many other weather instruments.
Now, what research findings have you been making this far, and do you have any surprising outcomes?
Yes, I think one of the main outcomes of this Future for Africa program with the UK is the link we found between the Southern Africa climate and the Central Africa climate. An output of the research from one of our PhD students come out with the link we have between the dry area over Southern Africa, the Kalahari region, and the Central Africa climate. And we found that when conditions are really dry over this part of Southern Africa, there is a winds blowing over Central Africa, which it's stronger and contribute to less rainfall over the region. And when the temperature is a bit lower over this dry land over Southern Africa, this wind is a bit weaker and we have more rainfall. So this clearly shows the link between what happened over the southern part of the continent and how the climate behave in Central Africa.
Is it the first time researchers are coming out with findings that link the whole of Africa? But I remember much has been written about Central Africa, Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, and the rest.
Mostly in the past, research were focusing on west, east, and southern part of Africa. And I think it was mainly because this part of the continent were facing some climate disaster in the past, frequent drought and floods. And the Central Africa in the past didn't really face a strong impact of climate variability. And because of that, effort were mainly made over this part of Africa. So the Central Africa is not well understood. That's why our team also focus on that region to help better understand how the climate is functioning and in general how to contribute to the understanding of the climate over Africa.
So you are saying that when there are changes in climate in the southern part of Africa, it directly affects Central Africa. What are the consequences?
Yes, the consequences is that, for example, for the climate projection, there is strong confidence that the southern part of Africa and also the northern part, the Sahara region, will be more dry in the future. And the consequence is that the climate over Central Africa will directly affect. So in the future, we can expect more dry spell, which are period of time where within the rainy season with no rainfall. So the strength of the dry condition over this northern and southern part of the continent will directly affect what will happen in between over the Central Africa region.
Should it mean that farmers should be careful when farming? Should it mean that electricity supply and so on will be interrupted? Does it mean that there will be more cases of ill health? Does it mean that there will be floods?
The direct meaning of this impact is one, the floods, because for what we found in our research, we found that we will have more frequent extreme events. Extreme events are mainly extreme rainfall, this kind of rainfall which bring floods. And this will be more frequent in the future. And also within the rainy season, we will have less raining days. So we can have the same length of months for the rainy season, but the number of rainy days within the season will be a bit lower. And also the dry spell, you know, some rainy season you have some period of time with no rainfall, and this dry spell will be more frequent and a bit longer, and with a direct impact on the agriculture activities. Another finding is what will come out over the Benue River, because we found
in the north of the country.
Yes, that in the northern Cameroon. We found that the river flow, the flow over this river will slightly go down in the future, and we know that in our country there is a dam on this river.
Over the Benue River,
yes, over the Benue River. So the direct consequence is that in the future there could be some trouble in terms of power production by this dam. So there are some measures which need to be taken. And also I think the Central Africa is much famous because of his forest. And there were also a study of one of our students in better understanding how the climate contribute to shape the distribution of the forest over the region. And there's some interesting results will come out. And I think we are on the way to better understand how forest categories are distributed over the region.
I understand your researchers and your findings just go to present the situation on the field. You don't have a means of implementing, some measures to be able to assist the population. But do you have collaboration from the government of Cameroon, from partners, from the international organizations that work directly with climate issues?
Yes, I think I will start at international level. One partner and one of the main partner we have is the University of Oxford through the Professor Richard Washington from the Oxford University. We start collaboration since 4 or 5 years ago, and it's the LiDAR we set up and the instrument we have also set up at the university was with this collaboration. We also collaborate with some researcher in Germany. We have a PhD student now in a university in Germany. We also collaborate with a researcher in France, University of Dijon, Nathalie Philippon. Through this collaboration, it's mainly exchange of PhD students to help them to. It's a way to find money to fund the research of the
But the problem
student.
now is that the populations that will suffer, when you propose to governments, do you have an impression the governments listen to you to try to look for some mitigations to the effects that we will be having?
To this direction, what we have tried to do is to strengthen our link with the national meteorological services in the country, because I think it is the services of the government which is dedicated to address meteorological or weather issue. So what we try to do is to better collaborate with them so that we can share our research output, and they can use it to give some advice to the government for the implementation of some measure to adapt to change.
Just briefly leave us now. You've seen the situation in the Far North region now, with the forecast indicating that there's going to be heavy rainfall, flooding, crops are going to be destroyed. Is it in line with your research? Did you forecast that also?
This particular, not really, because this is a short-term forecast. For what I said before in terms of increase of extreme events, it was mostly climate projection. So for the future, for like in 10 or 20 years. But what we are talking about is short-term forecast. We are working on it, but mainly on the research part, not on the operational one, to come out with this kind of result.
Dr. Pokam Wilfred of ENS in Yaoundé, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Monkey, for the
invitation. And I must indicate that I read a lot about you from the BBC, from Al Jazeera, from international media organs, and I started looking for you. Who is this young doctor? All international media outlets are reporting about. That's how I found you. Thanks for accepting to be here.
Thank you for the invitation.
We're having yet another break. When we come back, Eyikeshi Sami Tase, who is principal of Mario College, and Mbuel Hilary, an educationist, will be here to talk about the suspension of holiday classes by the Minister of Secondary Education. Let's have a break.
This time around, we are going to take you to Boya in the southwest region, where Minister Paul Atangandji was there.
Les élections auront bel et bien lieu le 9 février prochain. Ça a été dit dans la communication gouvernementale.
La question du statut spécial n'est pas à l'ordre du jour dans ce contexte, parce qu'il est d'abord question pour le gouvernement, pour l'État du Cameroun, de doter ces deux régions de représentants.
Après avoir dressé un tableau de la situation sécuritaire dont les points préoccupants à élaborer un plan qui puisse garantir un déroulement serein de ces deux grands moments de la vie de la nation.
6th of November 1982, 37 years after, we're concerned with what the New Deal has achieved over the years.
CRTV News, nothing but the news.
Welcome to Twilight on CRTV News. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka.
Au menu décryptage de l'actualité, analyse et commentaires, un plateau riche et alléchant.
Nous allons prendre la direction de la région du...
The observations this year are somehow low key when you try to compare this same period.
On sensibilise, nous sommes là, jusqu'à présent, on continue à sensibiliser. Ceux qui entrent, on sensibilise. Celui qui va entrer en ville, si on l'arrête, il n'est pas notre respect.
Nos taximans ont profité de cette architecture pour permettre à ce que pouvait être identifié. Le décret de 2016.
You have this picture because this is a star. Vous allez garder aussi ces photos, non?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Vous avez mobilisé des acteurs du secteur de la littérature. Pourquoi un réveil si brusque?
Les parents n'amènent pas toujours les enfants à la vaccination de routine du programme élargi de vaccination.
La radio à Sionto. Oui, vous avez Nostalgie.
Nostalgie Radio à Douala.
CRTV Littoral.
CRTV Littoral FM 105 avec Cyril Bonico.
Vous avez fait au tourisme télévisuel.
Le joueur de Coton Sport qui tantôt est milieu de terrain, milieu défensif, milieu offensif.
Et là, j'avais marqué le but d'égalisation. Et après, j'ai fait une passe décisive pour le deuxième but qui nous a envoyé directement au 8e de finale pour la première fois une Coupe du Monde.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.
This week, the Minister of Secondary Education decided to stop holiday classes, explaining that the COVID-19 does not favor the organization of holiday classes, and that holidays are periods for children to rest at home. We're going to look at the consequences of that decision and the timeliness also of the decision. We're going to examine what teachers think about it, especially those who organize holiday classes. And here We have Eyikeshi Sami Tase, who is principal of Maria College. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We also have Mbuel Hilary, who is an educationist. Mr. Mbuel, you're welcome, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Let me start with you, Mr. Eyikeshi Sami Tase. What was the reaction when you got this ministerial decision suspending holiday classes as people who organize the classes?
Well, I received it in good faith, first of all, mindful of the fact that I was here to begin the holiday classes in my own institution. I think if the minister came out with that document, it means she has carried out consultative administrative procedures before that document was put up for public consumption. And I want to also believe that coming up with a publication like that, the government might have taken some measures and seeing that going ahead with it is going to affect the population of the younger ones.
So you immediately stopped organizing the holiday classes you had to organize?
Yes, I immediately informed my parents to be calm and let's follow, because we are not autonomous. We are under the state.
Have you been able to discuss with some of these parents to know their feedback about it?
Yes, I have discussed with most of them, though not happy, but then we told them to be calm. In the days ahead, maybe there might be some changes.
Mr. Mbuel Hilary, what is your own reaction, sir?
Well, my reaction, to say the least, is that of disgruntlement, dissatisfaction, disappointment. The decision to me is so sudden, so abrupt, so disappointing, and even frustrating, to say the least.
What are your reasons for saying this? Because the argument there is simple. There is a coronavirus.
Yeah.
That's the first argument anyway.
I have no problem with the coronavirus, Moki. My problem is, when you look at the communique, you see that the minister says holidays and recreational activities. That's highly questionable. Students have been at home for over 5 months, approximately half a year. What have they been doing for the 6 months? Virtually nothing. So I don't know why the minister will suddenly tell us that the 1 month we are going to use for holiday classes should be used for recreational activities. So I've been trying to fathom the reason behind that, but I haven't seen any tangible reason for such an action.
Now,
so in my opinion,
it's
not the best.
Okay. What the parents think also, besides the fact that students have been at home for 5 months, is that it's an opportunity for some of you teachers to exploit parents. You increase the fees. Now it was from 10,000, some people are asking 20,000, 25,000, half of the school fees, and asking for uniforms, asking for T-shirts and so on. Are you not happy because the minister has stopped a money-making venture?
Well, I think you cannot solve a problem by creating another problem, which is even worse than the one you are trying.
May you answer my question first, sir?
Yeah, come again, please. Maybe I didn't get you well.
I just gave the increase in the fees, the purchase of T-shirts for 5,000. Was it really a good thing? It may have angered the minister.
Yeah, the minister is right. Proprietors, our employers in the private sectors are very exploitative. They collect huge sums of money for school fees from parents, and they don't even pay their teachers well. That's the truth. You can carry out your research as a journalist. The situation of teachers in the private sector is so deteriorating. So I agree with the minister, her disgruntlement with the exploitative attitude of proprietors, extorting money from parents. Remember, we the teachers are not the ones. We only teach and then we are paid, although we have a few schools in Yaoundé that do allow teachers to organize holiday classes and take care of the financial aspects. But the majority of the schools are in charge from the financial perspective. And so I agree with the minister, but my problem is that you cannot solve a problem by creating another problem which is even worse than the one you are trying to solve.
We shall come to you to talk to us about what you think should have been done eventually. But Mr. Eyikeshi Sami, do you share the same views he's bringing here as to the fact that, you know, some of the people organizing these classes exploit teachers, which means the minister was also right?
Well, I would not totally agree with him. It depends the institution. and the personalities involved. Because economic activity is supposed to be backed with the financial ability. Now, when you are working for somebody, then if the person wants to maintain his or her personality, then the person should be able to pay you. But as you say, in some cases you see some of these proprietors, they will want to come in and even overtake those who are working for them.
How much were you asking when you organized the holiday class that the minister stopped?
We were charging a token of 10,000 francs for all, from Form 1 to upper sets.
What is the scheme of work looking like? Because the government has its own scheme of work with time frames to cover it. Where is your own from and how does it look like?
The scheme of work is further broken into what we call progression sheets. And these progression sheets are being followed. Like, for example, in Mario Academic Complex, what we envisage to do during these holiday classes, mindful of the fact that the coronavirus pandemic truncated the academic year, we're supposed to begin with week 1 to cover what was not covered for the past 2 terms. That is beginning from March 18 to the 26th of June. And then the second week, we now have to revise what would have been taught in the previous class. And then the third week, we introduce them now into the superior class courses.
You were here when, just at the period when you started writing the GCE, sir.
Yes.
And you said most of the scheme of work had been complete.
For the examination classes,
okay.
Yes, from 5 and upper sets, the prolongation of the academic term, that is the third term, we did our best and it was covered. But from 1 to 4 and lower set, remember that after the communique of 18 March 2020, they have not been to school.
Okay. And Mr. Mbuwel, don't you think that parents should really concentrate protecting their children from this disease that is, I mean, claiming lives, killing lots and lots of people?
Well, I have no problem with that. Nobody wants to die prematurely. We all agree on that. But the problem is that the students have been at home for over 5 months. So what is the minister trying to tell us? Recreational activities. When you look at even the competence-based approach, the recreational activities that she's talking about, we are not just supposed to tell students 1 + 1, 2. We are supposed to impart knowledge to students so that they are capable of using the knowledge they acquire to face the challenges of life and overcome them, to interact. Because in that communique, she talks about social values, cultural values. We are not just there to give factual knowledge about literature, about geography. We are there to ensure that after imparting that knowledge to the students, they will be able to cope with societal and cultural issues.
What would be the difference between what you are saying and what they call holiday camps? Organized by the Ministry of Culture, for instance, and other departments that take children out also to embrace other cultures, to discuss with other people. What is the difference?
Well, the difference is only that that one is more or less official. It's just an official kind of a thing to encourage societal and cultural values. But I think our educational system should be such that after teaching the child or the students or pupils in the classroom, they should be able to interact, to socialize, we should be able to inculcate our cultural values into the students so that we don't only impart knowledge, we don't only inform them, but we also transform them.
What example are you giving if you organize the classes now to impart knowledge?
Well, I want to make this very clear as far as the holiday classes are concerned. My problem is that we have the corona pandemic academic year. We were not able to cover the syllabus for non-examination classes, and students have been at home for almost half a year. To the best of my knowledge, it is the first time in human history, at least for the history of Cameroon, for students to have that long period of holidays. And with the Android students we have today, when they are allowed to be free just for a month, for a week, the consequences will be catastrophic. So our main objective was to ensure that what was not done in lower 6, for instance, as students go to upper 6, that syllable will have been covered within this period of holiday classes, so that they don't go to upper 6 and they experience some lapses.
You are experts, yes, sir.
Yeah, that was the main issue. Secondly, This is not the first time that holiday classes are organized. There's so much cacophony we are making about COVID-19. I think the minister or the government in the general sense should have better mounted pressure on institutions to respect the preventive measures, the wearing of masks, 1 student per bench, and all of that. Those are the things that were done by the examination classes, Upper 6 and Form 5. Those measures were strictly respected, and I don't think, as of now, there is even one case of COVID-19 in the school milieu, so to speak.
That you and I will not be able to say.
That is to say, the measures were respected in school. So we're hoping that the measures...
continue respecting the measures.
Exactly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, let's look at the raison d'etre or rationale behind these holiday classes, Mr. Principal. You coach children year-round. Is it that very normal? I mean, they have barely 2 weeks to rest holiday classes. They have barely 3 weeks to be with or months to be with their parents, to visit their grandmothers, to embrace the cultural values of their places of origin. Holiday classes.
Mr. Muki, thank you for that question. It's something that so many are always wondering, why school have to organize holiday classes. I'll begin with this. The pupils from primary 6 getting into the secondary school, into Form 1. You bear with me that most of them, they don't master the present dispensation of the curriculum. They have to be introduced into the new curriculum that they were not taught previously in the primary school. Secondly, they have to be acquainted to the environment where they go to, the subjects, the teachers, and the administrative setup. Now, the third thing is that there are other students coming from elsewhere. Take, for example, those coming from Northwest and Southwest that did not go to school completely. When they come, you discover that a child who was in Form 2 is unable to even define forces.
She's been at home for 4 years.
For 4 years. Now, within this holiday period, be it a month, you are able to assess that child, recuperate that child, and ensure that the child is able to have some basic knowledge, first of all, before the academic year begins. That is one of the reasons. Then the other reasons comes in when you have cases, students are supposed to repeat in other institutions. I take, for example, a child who is in a different school, coming to my institution, Mario, for admission into Upper 6. That child was forced to repeat with an average of 9. Maybe the lighting condition in the child's room was not enough. Maybe the child was ill. Maybe there was not enough food. Maybe there was no transportation to get to the examination hall on time. But then all these forces put together will affect this learner not to pass the exam. And then the child and the parents insist that, no, this child is capable of doing it. They go to the former school and they tell the authorities that, no, I know my son, I know my daughter. Please, can you give him or her an opportunity to go into the superior class? They refuse it. And when they come, we accept. We now take these children for this period of 1 month to reassess them and give them the program of the institution. Maybe in their former school, they had not done some topics that have already been covered in my own institution. And so it is this period that you have to put them and then bring them together so that you be on the same level.
Without the 1 month there will be no space during the school year to teach these children, to introduce them to all of this you have explained?
Without this 1 month, you have gotten into the academic year calendar, because this is a side program attached to the main program.
Thank you. Now, you were talking of certain suggestions that could be made. But before we get there, I want to know from you, in those areas, those villages that have not been able to organize all the classes, are the children there already backward? But this is mostly in towns, eh?
Yeah, you are right, you are right, you are right. You know, parents, some of them see holiday classes as an opportunity to liberate themselves from their children. I'm not...
In the villages too?
Yeah.
That's when they help the parents in the farms?
Yeah.
In the town, some sell to raise money to be able to go back to school?
Well, the issue here is that holiday classes do not last for the whole period of the holidays. Holidays, 3 months approximately. And holiday classes last just for a month. So if you want to send your child for the so-called recreational activities or to the village to acquaint themselves with their mother, grandmother, and inculcate or get the cultural values, learn the native language, all of that, we have no problem with that. But the point we are making here is that holiday classes do not last for the entire period of the holidays. And this time it is even worse. As I was saying a while ago, we have had holidays for over 5 months. So why must it be for this period of 1 month? Why can't we use the remaining 1 month we have to at least do something so that we meet up with the lapses that students have? The little they knew, they had forgotten already. That's the unfortunate thing, even from 5 and over 6 students. Thank God CRTV even had a focus on exam, which even helped to occupy the students during the COVID-19 period. I can tell you that when the students came back from 5 and over 6, most of them had forgotten the little they knew.
Yeah.
So how are these students going to be promoted to the next classes without assimilating what had been done in their previous classes?
If I understand the two of you here, is that this year was peculiar and needed peculiar measures, like allowing for the holiday classes.
Absolutely.
What if the government itself organized those classes? Would it be still the same thing you're asking for?
Of course. Everybody should organize the classes, the government and the private sector.
Now we're going to end in about 3 minutes. We've been together for about 18 minutes. Let's start doing what they call networking. Maybe you have a message you want to pass here that maybe, can help in the problems with organizing holiday classes or not. What exactly would you be saying, advising?
If I am to advise other colleagues of the normal profession, I would suggest they go back to the WhatsApp group we created during the COVID-19 pandemic holiday. We used to have classes, online classes that were taught online, and the students, they can still continue with it. If at all they kept the contacts of the parents of the learners. But if they don't have, then they will have to go back to their database and try to get those contacts so that they can institute those classes again to help our learners.
Now that there are no holiday classes, what are you proposing?
Well, our hands are tied. The unfortunate thing is that teachers are at the mercy of their employers. Employers have the laxity, the powers to do what they like. They can do and undo. The pay package is deplorable. We even have cases of some employers who create one motive or the other so that classes will not be held. Teachers are paid per period, especially part-time teachers. And so when those classes are not there, they will benefit. So the minister took this decision aware of the exploitative attitude I'm talking about. Well, that is where I agree with the minister. But like I said a while ago, I'm not happy with her solving a problem by creating another problem.
What are you proposing now?
So what I'm proposing is that the government has a responsibility to impose on the private sector. Proprietors should improve on the working conditions of the teachers. Because I want to believe, from my understanding, the minister took that decision because of the exploitative. If teachers had not been exploited, I don't think such a decision would be taken or would have been taken. So I would like that the government imposes. The government has the powers to impose on the private sector to check, see that parents who pay huge sums of money for school fees, that their children actually get the knowledge that they are going to acquire, and that the teachers are catered for. Because if you are not well paid, you will be demotivated. And at the end of you will be traumatized psychologically. And with that psychological trauma, the quality of the service you render will not be the best. So the government has a responsibility to do checks and balances within the private sector and to exercise some pressure on our employers so that they can do the right thing.
Do you agree with him too that instead of organizing classes, they could go back to the WhatsApp groups and the social media platforms that they were holding classes?
Well, that is another option, but online classes have a lot of lapses. Online classes are not effective. First of all, the technology can fail you. In fact, it fails you. The quality of the connection we have with MTN and Orange is deplorable. That's the least I can say. You know, with those lapses, the classes will not be effective. Yeah, but that is an option which is commendable, but with a number of lapses.
Well, we've got the arguments here for and against the suspension of holiday classes, but the decision has been taken by the Minister of Secondary Education, a decision which we have been told by the teachers here they have no option than to apply. I want to thank you, Yi Keishi Sami Tasik, Principal of Mario College, for coming. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And you, Mbuel Hilary, educationist. What do you teach?
I teach in Cameroon School of Excellence, a SOS, Masters Bilingual College, just here in
So many
Balade,
schools.
at the entrance, St. Benedict College, Holy.
All right, thank you very much. It is
You are
exactly 7 p.m. in Yaoundé, and time we go to the newsroom. Bonsoir, Gaël.
Bonsoir, mon frère.
Devant les armes blanches et restreintes dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest.
Absolument, ce communiqué qui nous parvient du ministère de l'administration territoriale, le ministre pour la Tangandi a instruit le recensement dans toutes les quincailleries et magasins des stocks de machettes, de haches et de fer disponibles dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest. Cette restriction de la vente et l'utilisation des armes blanches fait suite à la nouvelle il y a quelques jours d'un assassinat d'une dame, un assassinat à la machette d'une femme à Mouyouka dans la région du sud-ouest. Ces mesures conservatoires seront appliquées durant 4 mois. Autre actualité, plus de 100 cadres supérieurs de l'Assemblée nationale à l'école du bilinguisme et d'informatique. La cérémonie officielle de lancement des cours de recyclage de 45 jours sur le campus de l'Institut africain d'informatique était présidée par le vice-président de l'Assemblée nationale, l'honorable Hilarion Eton. Et nous vous donnerons toutes ces informations dans nos prochaines éditions de journaux. Lutte contre le coronavirus, les bons points des hôpitaux publics, la rédaction est en immersion dans les centres de prise en charge des patients anciens Orca, annexe numéro 2 de l'hôpital central de Yaoundé et le centre de Yassa à Douala, 2 centres qui respirent propreté et soins. L'espace aménagé séduit par son aspect, des patients sont de plus en plus rassurés. Allons justement voir à quoi ressemble une scène de vie dans ces centres, suivant notre guide Aboubakar Abou.
Spécial
et quelques soucis techniques, le temps de poursuivre et de prendre cette actualité. Le ministère des enseignements secondaires interdit les cours de vacances au sein de tous les établissements publics et privés au Cameroun. Le professeur Nalova Lyonga, dans une décision signée le 14 août dernier, évoque la crise sanitaire actuelle, la pandémie à coronavirus. Comment la nouvelle a-t-elle été accueillie sur le terrain? Nous espérons avoir les réponses dans ce reportage de Sadou Mamoudou. Défaut technique, une fois de plus, nous poursuivons et nous prenons des nouvelles du ministère de la fonction publique et de la réforme administrative au lendemain de l'alerte suite à la découverte d'un objet suspect dans un carton contenant des dossiers administratifs. Le travail a repris son cours normal au ministère de la fonction publique. Le personnel qui avait donc libéré le bâtiment peut sereinement retrouver ses activités. Rappelez-vous, hier, une pompe à insuline à usage des diabétiques avait été prise pour une bombe. Les détails dans ce reportage de Cathy Toulou et Langa.
Timide mais rassuré à l'esplanade du ministère de la fonction publique ce mardi, au lendemain de la grosse frayeur consécutive à la découverte d'un objet suspect, ce beeper d'insuline. Tout est rentré dans l'ordre.
L'évaluation que j'ai faite avec certaines structures, la visite que j'ai moi-même effectuée dans certaines autres, nous amène à réaliser que le taux d'assiduité en écho n'est-ce pas, de l'appel que le ministre de la fonction publique et de la réforme administrative a lancé hier a bel et bien été entendu par le personnel.
Les arrivées sont systématiquement filtrées, un préalable avant tout accès.
Le ministre n'a pris des mesures visant à un filtrage rigoureux des personnels.
À l'intérieur du bâtiment, justement, c'est la sérénité. Le ministère de la fonction publique qui a pour mission la gestion des carrières de plus de 260 000 fonctionnaires et agents de l'État poursuit en ce moment ses actions en faveur du service public, loin de la panique et des sueurs froides.
Une séance de travaux sur la valorisation des produits biocosmétiques camerounais faits à base d'essence de bambou de Chine s'est tenue ce matin au 12e étage de l'immeuble CNR dans la capitale politique. C'est autour d'une table que les fabricants de ces produits ont eu l'opportunité de présenter leur travail et les bienfaits de l'emploi du bambou de Chine pour l'économie du Cameroun. Reportage Claude Sandra de Tours, stagiaire.
Les merveilles du bambou de Chine dans la biocosmétique mis en vitrine. Dans cette salle réhabilitée pour la circonstance, tous les produits de la Confédération camerounaise des petites et moyennes entreprises et des métiers de la mode font l'objet de la rencontre. On peut y voir des laits de toilette, savon, gel de douche à base de menthe, dentifrice, shampoing fait avec du gombo et bien d'autres encore. Le bambou de Chine, cet arbre utilisé depuis le 19e siècle en Chine, est selon ses utilisateurs un anti-acnéique qui adoucit la peau, les cheveux, régénère les cellules épidermiques, soigne le rhumatisme pour ne citer que ceci. Il est aussi utilisé depuis des années dans nos cultures pour fabriquer des instruments traditionnels. Chose que l'artiste Alex David Longa a bien voulu nous illustrer à travers un slam en cérémonie d'ouverture.
D'inlassable, à ronger la peau nue de mes espérances.
Le comité de compétitivité qui accueille l'initiative pense à la valorisation du patrimoine camerounais, en ceci qu'elle pourrait réduire le taux d'importation du Cameroun qui s'élève à 100 milliards de francs CFA et à protéger ses actions pour garantir les droits d'auteur des fabricants. C'est pourquoi une dizaine de ministères tels que le ministère de l'Agriculture, le ministère de l'Économie, de la Planification et de l'Aménagement du territoire, le ministère de l'Emploi et de la Formation professionnelle y ont pris part chacun pour apporter leur contribution à ces œuvres culturelles.
Au sport football, on connaîtra la première équipe qualifiée pour la finale de la Ligue des Champions ce soir. Le Paris Saint-Germain d'Éric Maxime Choupo-Moting affronte le RB Leipzig. Le PSG a des favoris de la partie, mais le Leipzig a des arguments à faire valoir également. Robert Rollins-Mbiama nous en dit plus.
En route pour une première en finale. Leipzig-PSG est un duel qui met face à face deux équipes qui n'ont jamais encore atteint la finale de la Ligue des Champions. Leipzig a réussi à faire sauter le verrou du solide Atlético Madrid pour se hisser en demi-finale pour la première fois depuis sa récente création en 2009. L'équipe est jeune, à l'image de son coach Julian Nagelsmann, 33 ans. Réputée joueuse, Leipzig est l'outsider face au PSG. Le Paris Saint-Germain, qualifié in extremis grâce à Éric Maxime Choupo-Moting, dispute la deuxième demi-finale de son histoire en Ligue des Champions. Pour ce rendez-vous, les Parisiens devraient enregistrer le retour de Kylian Mbappé comme titulaire. Ils devront cependant se passer de Keylor Navas. Le gardien de but s'est blessé contre l'Atalanta Bergame. Le héros des quarts de finale, Éric Maxime Choupo-Moting, va lui débuter sur le banc et entrer, peut-être en cours de partie. Le coup d'envoi de cette première demi-finale est prévu.
Et voilà qui vient de mettre un terme à cette édition du 19h.
Thanks, Gaël.
C'est moi qui vous remercie.
Yeah. We shall be having the last segment of today's edition of Twilight. That will be the international supplement with Eric Launa. That will be after this break.
L'eau constitue un enjeu majeur pour le développement et le Cameroun, pays en voie de développement, fait face à de multiples problèmes liés à la gestion des ressources en eau.
Ceux qui ont des moyens paient de l'eau minérale, ceux qui n'ont pas de moyens, ils se débrouillent à aller prendre dans l'Institut catholique.
Ça coule en bas,
du sol, on ne sait même pas d'où ça sort.
Ça, le concept de la GIE, c'est impliquer toutes les parties prenantes qui peuvent intervenir dans le concept.
Il s'agit, n'est-ce pas, de particules très fines, avec des diamètres inférieurs à 500 micromètres, pas millimètres, micromètres.
Tout est déjà parti. Regardez la première table, comment la poussière a déjà envahi. Tu installes la marchandise, c'est comme ça, dans quelques minutes, ça devient rempli de poussière.
Les particules plus fines maintenant arrivent à l'intérieur, mais elles sont gérées, c'est-à-dire de façon automatique par l'organisme. Maintenant, lorsque vous éternuez, lorsque vous mouchez, ce n'est pas quelque chose de péjoratif, parce que vous voyez, lorsqu'on fréquente, lorsqu'on se mouchonne, on peut tout, mais en réalité, c'est une réponse de l'organisme face à la poussière que l'on absorbe.
Apprenez les éco-gestes et la main verte dans Planète Bleue pour un monde qui respire. Planète Bleue sur CRTV.
3 major areas of interest are in our international supplement page of this day: Lebanon, USA, and first of all, Mali. Let's have some details on what precisely is happening in that country, that is Mali, with our international supplement specialist, Eric Launahuna. Good evening and welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Good evening, Moki, and thank you. Good evening to all your televiewers on CRTV Twilight. And as you said, Moki, we make our stop in Mali in this course of the international supplement. Et au Mali, justement, où depuis ce matin, les Maliennes retiennent leur souffle. Depuis ce matin, justement, des bruits de bottes résonnent dans la capitale Bamako. Et aux dernières nouvelles, le président Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta et un bon nombre des membres de son staff seraient aux arrêts. Et un bref détail de ce qui s'est passé là-bas au Mali ce matin à travers ce reportage.
Trouble à Bamako, la capitale malienne. Le chef d'état-major de la garde nationale et son directeur des affaires financières viennent d'être arrêtés par les militaires lutins ainsi que le ministre de l'économie et des finances Abdoulaye Daf et celui des affaires étrangères Tiblé Dramé. Le président de l'Assemblée nationale, Moussa Timbine, est aussi entre leurs mains. Des sources indiquent qu'ils sont en train d'arrêter tous les ministres. Le chef d'état-major général serait aussi arrêté par le groupement d'intervention de la garde nationale. Les camps militaires de Kati et de la garde nationale de Ntominkoro-Bougou sont en ébullition et quadrillent le secteur. Le coup d'état militaire sera en cours contre le régime d'Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. À la tête de la mutinerie, le colonel Sadio Kamara, ex-directeur du Britannique militaire de Kati, qui revient d'une formation en Russie, et le colonel Diao de la région militaire de Kati. Le Mali retient son souffle, les populations s'interrogent. À la cité administrative de Bamako, les personnalités sont évacuées des lieux.
Et alors, justement, concernant cette actualité au Mali, nous précisons que le chef d'état-major de l'armée nationale et son directeur des affaires financières sont aux arrêts, suivant les dernières nouvelles qui nous parviennent de la capitale Bamako au Mali, ainsi que le président de la République, ainsi qu'un bon nombre des membres de son gouvernement. L'autre angle d'arrêt dans le cours de ce supplément international, il nous conduit tout droit aux États-Unis d'Amérique, où là-bas se tient depuis quelques jours la Convention démocrate américaine. Et elle s'est ouverte il y a quelques jours et là-bas, elle se déroule exclusivement en ligne. Coronavirus oblige, Joe Biden sera officiellement désigné candidat à l'élection présidentielle contre Donald Trump à cette occasion. Et déjà ce soir, la grande attente, c'est celle du mot d'investiture, le discours de l'épouse du candidat du camp démocrate. Et on ample détail sur ce qui s'est déroulé dans le cours de cette convention démocrate aux États-Unis à travers ce reportage de nos confrères de France 24.
Ni ballon ni public pour scander le nom de Joe Biden, mais des dizaines d'ordinateurs et des techniciens masqués aux quatre coins de ce centre de convention de Milwaukee. À l'ère du Covid-19, la convention d'investiture démocrate sera virtuelle, une première dans l'histoire de ce rassemblement politique.
So what you see behind me is the technical backbone for how millions of Americans across the country and right here in Milwaukee will be able to view our convention.
Pendant 4 jours, les grands noms du parti prendront tour à tour la parole par visioconférence, tandis que les délégués chargés de nommer officiellement le candidat à la présidence voteront eux à distance. De Bernie Sanders à Bill Clinton, en passant par Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton et Michelle Obama, tous devraient mettre l'accent sur l'importance d'unifier le pays, une valeur essentielle alors qu'ils veulent afficher l'image d'un parti rassemblé face à Donald Trump.
You see, for Republicans, a convention is an ego trip for Donald Trump. For Democrats, and Joe Biden's been very clear about this isn't about my ego. This is about our vision as a nation. How will we build back a better America? That's what Joe Biden is about.
Le candidat démocrate Joe Biden s'exprimera lui depuis la ville de Wilmington où il réside pour le traditionnel discours d'acceptation d'investiture, une prise de parole très attendue qui clôturera la convention le 20 août prochain.
Et autre actualité ce jour au Liban, le verdict au sujet de l'assassinat de l'ancien Premier ministre libanais Rafik Hariri est connu. Le tribunal spécial pour le Liban a reconnu coupable cet après-midi Salim Ayash, membre présumé du Hezbollah au Liban, et 3 autres suspects ont été acquittés. En 2005, une bombe avait explosé au milieu du cortège du Premier ministre libanais. Retour sur les faits à travers ce reportage, une fois de plus, de nos confrères de France 24.
14 février 2005, le Liban est sous le choc. Une bombe vient d'exploser au milieu du cortège de l'ancien Premier ministre Rafik Hariri. La déflagration arrache les balcons des bâtiments à proximité et décime le front de mer de Beyrouth. Hariri décède sur le coup avec 21 autres personnes.
C'est crime abominable. L'on aurait pu croire d'un autre temps.
Les soupçons se dirigent immédiatement vers la Syrie voisine, un pays qu'Hariri avait critiqué à plusieurs reprises pour son ingérence dans la politique libanaise. 2 jours plus tard, 50 000 personnes assistent à ses funérailles et la colère contre Damas explose dans l'opinion publique. Au moment de l'assassinat, l'armée syrienne occupe le Liban depuis près de 3 décennies. Mais sous la pression internationale, la Syrie retire ses troupes 2 mois après l'attaque. Dans un contexte de remise en cause du système judiciaire libanais, l'inquiétude monte pour la sécurité des personnes impliquées dans le procès. Un tribunal spécial est donc mis en place pour enquêter sur le meurtre. Basée aux Pays-Bas, la Cour est créée en 2009 et mettra donc 11 ans à rendre son verdict. Les critiques disent que le procès a été trop long et bien trop coûteux, avec plus de 700 millions de dollars engagés et un personnel de près de 400 personnes, dont 11 juges à plein temps. Les 4 principaux accusés n'ont pas pu être arrêtés et sont donc jugés par contumace, tandis qu'un 5e est mort en Syrie en 2016. Tous sont considérés par le tribunal comme des proches du Hezbollah, qui, de son côté, nie toute implication dans l'attaque.
Et pour être tout à fait complet, Moki, sur ces sujets développés dans le cours de ce supplément international, signalons qu'au Mali, un communiqué de la CEDEAO appelle les militaires à regagner sans délai les casernes de l'organisation sous-régionale, condamne vigoureusement la tentative en cours et prendra toutes les mesures et actions de restauration de l'ordre constitutionnel dans le pays. And that's what we've had.
Just to confirm that Ibeka, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, has been arrested with several cabinet ministers already in Mali.
Exactly, Moki. Those are some of the latest news we've gathered concerning this major event taking place in Mali and Bamako, the capital city.
International organizations that the African Union are asking the military to go back to the barracks and to stop the mutiny.
Exactly, Moki.
Thanks very much for coming, and thanks very much for your international affairs supplement.
It has been a pleasure, Moki. Thank you very much.
And that is where we come to the end of this day's edition of Twilight on CRTV News. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka in Yaoundé. Thank you for watching.